Hey there, I'm Dr. Dave, the Oola Seeker. This is Dr. Troy, the Oola Guru. We are the Oola guys, and we are so excited that you have joined us for this home class with your host to help you get started on a life of more balanced growth and purpose.
And reconnecting with your dreams. We drive a bus around the country collecting dreams.
So fun.
We've collected 27 layers of handwritten dreams, and people lose sight of their dreams. So thank you for taking the time tonight to invest in you because you're worth it.
What we want to do is get you caught up on really what Oola is. If you look at the definition, it's a lifestyle framework to help you find more balanced growth and purpose. But it's just so much more than that because it's a global community of people saying, I want to live different. I want to live a better life. I want to have better relationships. I want to connect to my family more. I want to live debt-free, or at least not have the stress of debt overhanging on my shoulders all the time like a big weight. I want to reconnect to a faith walk, have more fun, and live more purpose-filled lives. And that's where we're going to start the process with you today of just working through that to get you started on really developing a system to help you find the life that you dream of and deserve.
It's a proven framework, and it's just time to stepping outside of life. We used to do this as a group of guys back in the day, and once a year, do what you're doing right now is just gather with friends and say, okay, where am I in the key areas of life? Even if it's not that great, but where do I want to go? Not losing sight of our dreams and actually finding a system to take action steps that move your life forward.
I learned the Oola Lifestyle Framework in 1997, a long time ago, from this guy, the Oola Guru. And he said, hey, you're gonna work hard in business and you're gonna work hard in money, but there's so much more in life. You really have to balance these 7 key areas of life. So I found myself in 1997, for the first time ever, looking at my life in these 7 key areas: fitness, finance, family, field, which is your career, faith, friends, and fun, and saying, where am I and where do I want to go with these 7 areas and how am I going to get there, and answering those questions. When I followed this system, the Oola Lifestyle Framework, I found success at a very young age. Married, kids, amazing family, beautiful house, great career, working on my faith, running marathons, staying fit. I found my Oola life. In around 2007, 2008, I drifted from these principles. And where I found myself in 2009 was I found myself bankrupt, divorced, and living in a motel. And I remember reaching out to this guy one night who was fully retired, married to his high school sweetheart. You met her in kindergarten. Your kindergarten sweetheart, if you can even say that. Married his high school sweetheart, and beautiful family, working on all 7 key areas of life. And I was on the bad side of town in the motel. And he said, you have to get back to the Oola Lifestyle Framework. So I sat down and I started working on my Oola life again. What was my year like? What led to this? Why did I find myself in this situation where I feel so broken and so much pain? And how do I start working out of that process to move forward? And as I started working on the Oola Lifestyle Framework and getting my own Oola life back, that's when we decided to share this message with the world. So what we're going to do today in this class is start that process for you of just where are you in these 7 key areas? How did you get here? What is your true purpose? And really start to uncover some stuff for you where you can start moving forward and living a life that you really want to live.
It's really about you getting to know you again. I remember when you called me from the bottom, when you were in that bad spot, and I remember saying where you are is simply where you are, not who you are. We believe you're designed by God for greatness and a purpose, something amazing, and many times we lose sight of that. I don't know if you've lost sight of that, but it's easy to do in this busy world. So the whole point of this class tonight is just to pull out some things and to get some information to make sure you're reconnected to your passion, your unique purpose. And I always think we're going to get around to it. I always think that, someday after the kids do this and after my job settles down and after this business gets to this level, then I'll start working on me. But I do this thing, you know what I do, but on my birthday every year I have 2 jars of marbles and a little display in the middle. And I'm real left brain, kind of nerdy analytical. And when I look at the stats in America, the average male in America lives to be 77 years old. The average female lives to be 81. I know only God knows our days, but that's an average. Like, we're not going to avoid it. Men, 77, women, 81. So what I started with was 77 marbles, and every day on my birthday, I didn't start this when I was 0. I started like in my 20s, but I would move over a marble. So I always have this marble with me. And on my birthday, I would move it over. And then when I look at these 2 jars of marbles every day, I see the years lived, the ones that have moved. And when I look at that, the years that I've lived, there's some pain in there. There's some success in there. There's babies born and trips taken. There's businesses failed. There's businesses successes. It's a whole life. And I don't spend a lot of time there. But what happens every year for me is every time I move a marble and the years left to live, that jar gets smaller. It creates a fire in me. It creates an urgency that life is short. And when I look at the marble that's on display, that's now. That's the year I'm living now. That's the year you're living right now. And it says, I don't control the past. I even don't control the future. but I do control this moment. And when I look at that jar that's year by year getting smaller and smaller, I say, what do I want for my life? Like, what do I want in the 7 key areas of life? And that's what we're working with you tonight on.
When I reached out to you from that motel and you were fully retired and living your Oola life and I was at the bottom, you said something very important to me. He said to me, where you are right now is just where you are, it's not who you are. Where you are is just where you are, it's not who you are. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know if you're struggling in a marriage. I don't know if you're struggling with your health issues. I don't know if you're struggling with your finances. I don't know if all 7 areas are great, but you want to grow more and find deeper purpose. But what I do know is that you're designed by God for greatness and a purpose. You have this amazingness inside of you, and where you are right now is just where you are, it's not who you are. So let's get started in the process. We're going to answer 2 questions in this class on your card. And as you answer those 2 questions, I want you to look back at your year and say, what are some of the highlights of my year? What are some of the challenges of my year? And this is going to start the process of you starting to work on you. Because again, where you are is where you are, it's not who you are, and you're designed for greatness and a purpose, to live an extraordinary life, and this is starting that process. So what I want you to do is turn your card over, answer your first 2 questions. When you're done answering those questions, turn your card back over and wait for the host to guide you to your next steps. We're going to see you in section 2 in just a minute. Hey there, welcome back to section 2. Now that you know your biggest highlights and your biggest challenge from the last 365 days, now we're going to start moving forward. Now we're going to start looking at your life you're living today by starting to look at what are called the 7 key areas of life. Again, learned it from the Oola Guru, but the 7 key areas of life: fitness, finance, family, field, which is your career, faith, friends, and fun. And what you're going to be doing when you're looking at these areas is saying, where am I in these 7 key areas and where do I want to go? I learned the 7 key areas from Dr. Troy way back in the day, like I said, in 1997, when he said, you can't just be successful in 2 areas. You have to be successful or work on balancing and growing all 7 key areas of life. Now, we have seen what has happened when people don't do that. Debt is out of control. Overweight issues are out of control. Marriages are falling apart at 53% in America and worldwide. And we're having a lot of people walk away from their faith walk, having fun in life and losing their purpose. So this is where you start to look at your life different, what we call looking at your life through the lens of Oola, and saying, I'm designed for greatness and a purpose. I know where I've been the last 365 days, my challenges, my highlights, you've talked about them. And now it's like, now let's look at where I am today in these 7 key areas and start thinking of the process of where do you want your life to go?
So I think as the world is telling us that we're defined by what we drive, where we live, what we do for a career, and it's just not that way. When we study people who are the most happy, the most deeply fulfilled, they have balance in the 7 key areas, not just a ton of money, not just a great career. Those are important, but they truly have found a way to pay attention and be intentional with 7 key areas. I can't think of a better way to explain this than I was a little kid, little punk kid, probably 3rd, 4th grade, and I remember my dad taking me to the circus. And the circus is just cool as a kid in general, but there was one part that stood out to me. There was this guy who walked in the center circle under the lights with a table full of white plates. And in front of him were 7 sticks. And he would grab a plate from the table and he would get it spinning. And I was in awe, like, man, how can he balance a plate on a stick? And he would grab the first plate and put it on a pole. And he'd go grab another plate, another pole, a 3rd, a 4th, a 5th. And by the time he got to that 6th pole, it got really interesting because what was happening over here on pole 1? Well, that plate was starting to wobble. And you could palpate the conflict in his brain, like, do I grab that last plate, the 7th plate, and try to get it spinning? Or do I go tap pole 1 or plate 1 before it crashes and hits the floor? That's what we're doing. You and I and everyone we love, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, we're doing this every single day of our life. You're trying to be a great wife, a great husband. You're trying to be a good dad, a good mom. You're trying to make money for the family, save for the future, college, pay off debt, retirement. You're trying to stay healthy and eat right and be active. You're trying to have a faith walk and be a part of something that's bigger than yourself. You're trying to find joy, not kick it down the road, but have joy in the day. Have a quality group of friends that are encouraging and not toxic. And it's overwhelming, and it can be overwhelming. So what we're talking about today is Oola. If you want a life that's balanced and you want one that's fulfilling, it's not 1 or 2 areas, It's all 7.
And now that you're going to look at your life through this lens of Oola, you're going to start looking at your life through the 7 key areas of life. It's so important to visualize that you are balancing the 7 key areas, and you want to start to figure out where your stresses come from, where the overwhelm has come from, what 7 areas you need to focus on more, where the stresses come from in those 7 key areas of life, and which ones you want to start working on for your future. What are you passionate about? What is naturally you? This is not what your mom and dad want to tell your teachers or preachers or neighbors or friends. This is, what do you really want to do for your life? This is time for you to look at your own life and say, when you flip that card over and look at the next 2 questions, who am I? Who do I really want to be? Who do I really want to grow into in the future? And where do I want my life to go? All right, so flip your card over, answer the next 2 questions of section 2, and then we will be right back after you get done working through this with your host. Hey there, and welcome back to section 3. Now you know which 7 key areas. You looked at them, you learned about them: fitness, finance, family, field, faith, friends, and fun. You looked at those and said, why am I having so much stress in these categories? And you talked about it. And then you said, what am I really passionate about naturally and what I want to do? And now you're starting to put your life back together. You're starting the process of seeing your life through the lens of Oola, which is great because it's going to help you find more balance, growth, and purpose. But there are these things, and they're evil things, and they're called blockers. And I know exactly what these feel like because when I lost everything and started working my way back, I had to work through a lot of blockers. Think of a blocker as, that's what I want in my life. Right there it is. This is what I want for my family life, my fitness, my finances, my career, my faith walk, having fun with my friends circle, whatever it is that you're trying to go get. You're thinking about your life now in this through the lens of Oola, but these are going to stop you. And blockers are things that you have learned over the past, like guilt, fear, anger, laziness, self-sabotage is a big one, envy is a big one. You've learned these, and now we have to start the process of helping you overcome and break through these blockers so that you can get to your Oola life.
Part of you getting the most out of this experience is being honest with yourself. Blockers are where dreams go to die. All of us have dreams. We all have visions of what we want for life. Do you know that only 8% of the people who set goals in their life achieve them? That means 92% of us don't. And they usually die right when facing a blocker. Maybe you don't feel worthy of success. Maybe you struggle with fear. Maybe you're straight up lazy. I mean, I'm lazy in certain things in my life, I know. Maybe you're carrying the weight of guilt from a past failure or a past mistake. But the cool thing is, if you can learn to overcome these blockers, the good stuff is on the other side.
And that's what we want for you in this next section. When you're ready to turn your card over and look at this next question and talk about it with your host and talk about it amongst each other, this is what we want you to do, is start to work through these blockers. Get real with where you are. Again, this is finding out what's been holding you back. And maybe it's more than one blocker, but find that blocker that's holding you back and start the process of talking about it so you can start to overcome this blocker and get to your life. Remember what we said in section 1? You are designed for greatness and a purpose. You have this extraordinary life inside of you, but we've learned things from other people telling us, from other past failures, even from past successes, where we've lost our way when it comes to fear, guilt, self-sabotage, anger, laziness, envy, and we want you to start the process of breaking through that so you can get to where you want to go in life and live a better life of more balance, more growth, and greater purpose. So, turn your card over. Answer the next question for section 3, talk about it amongst a group, work with your host, and we'll see you right back in section 4 where we talk about accelerators and start to put all this back together. The good stuff is coming. Hey there, welcome to section 4.
You're crushing it.
Blockers
You're
can be
great.
heavy. I hope you're doing
great.
okay. Now we're going to get into the accelerators. This is what moves your life forward. This is the wind behind your sails. So we started talking about your year in review. We started talking about these 7 key areas of life: fitness, finance, family, field, faith, friends, and fun that you need to look at. You need to look at these 7 plates you're spinning all the time and say, I am designed to have those 7 plates spinning, growing, and filled with purpose. I deserve that life. But boom, we ran into these blockers, and you started working through the process with your host of breaking through and overcoming these blockers. And now it's the beautiful part. You got the 7 key areas of life. You're starting to think of, where do I want these areas to go? What is my true purpose, my God-given greatness inside of me? Where am I going with this? And now what could I use to get you there faster? and that's called an Oola Accelerator, like gratitude, love, passion, wisdom, integrity. I know when I was at the bottom, when I was struggling at the bottom, losing everything, living in the motel, I had a lot of blockers, guilt, I had fear, I had anger, I had all sorts of things I had to work through and overcome. And how I did that, a big part of it, was by embracing the accelerators like gratitude, love, passion, wisdom, integrity, and dedicating my life to embracing those to help me push my life forward.
This is a lot. We get it. It's a lot to go through in a home class, and especially if you're really taking this process seriously, because
Which you better be.
You're forced to
You
be.
better be.
You're forced to be vulnerable. You're forced to just. Well, we're looking at with blockers. Like, man, maybe I am carrying guilt. Maybe I am lazy. Maybe I don't see my own value or my own worth. I mean, these are some heavy issues, but accelerators are fun. Like, accelerators are the wind behind your back. That, like, hey, if I do this, if I did this in my life, if I dedicated the next 365 days to this one accelerator, my life would move forward. You know, for me. So we encourage you to look at these and pick one. Mine's discipline, and I always tell myself what the lazy want, the discipline get. I know that if I wake up every day and take small steps forward toward my Oola life, that my life will change for the better. So this is your moment. This is your moment to look at your life and say, as I review the top 7 Oola accelerators, which one would bring my life the most value? Which one would move my life forward?
So what I want you to do is flip your card over. Your host is going to pause this video, and I want you to look at the 7 accelerators written in front of you, and I want you to say, which one do I need right now in my life? You just worked on the blockers, so which accelerator is going to move you forward and why? And then you're going to discuss it as a group. Your host is going to take you through that process, and then we're going to see you back for section 5. Hey there, and welcome back to section 5, my favorite part. You just worked through the accelerators. That is my favorite part when we do Oola Palooza, when we do any of our events, when we're writing in our books, when we're teaching this on the road in the Oola Tour. I love working through the accelerators. So you just worked through my favorite part. But now we're going to work through what Dr. Troy really loves, and that's taking action and really starting to put this in motion by making an intention, setting a goal in one of the 7 key areas of life that you say, okay, now, I know what happened in the last 365 days. I know the 7 F's of Oola, ones I'm passionate about, ones I'm really struggling with. I know these blockers that get in the way that are keep holding me back over the years. I now learned about an accelerator that's going to help move me forward, but what am I going to go get? Like, how am I going to take action and say, this is what I need to do? And that's what we're declaring in section 5 is one goal that's going to bring your life more balance, more growth, and greater purpose over the next year, that if you hit that goal, everything changes. We have seen these goals across the global community be losing weight, 120 pounds, 50 pounds, 80 pounds, paying off debt, getting debt-free, totally debt-free. We have seen this with putting a marriage back together, getting out of a toxic marriage where there's abuse, reconnecting with childhood friends, reconnecting with people that you love, really working on a faith walk again, having more fun in life, traveling. It's endless what we've seen people say, this is what I need to do because I am worth it and I'm designed for greatness and a purpose and I want to go get my little life, but this needs to happen. So you're going to be declaring that now in this section.
You've learned there's 7 key areas of life, and this is that moment where you look at the 7 key areas and you reflect upon your life, the life you've lived, the life you want to live, and the life you're living in this moment, and saying, if this one thing changed, in the next 365 days, if this were the only thing that changed in my life would be radically transformed. And we're having you actually put a pen to paper, a pen to sticker. Like that's a commitment for you to think about this, really process what you've learned tonight and say, okay, what do I really want for my life? And take the time to write it down and go, okay, and commit to that. Because that's a commitment between you and you. Integrity is one of the Oola accelerators, by the way, and that doesn't mean just keeping your word with someone else. It means keep your word with yourself. So make a commitment on one thing. This can be between you and you, or you can share it with the group. It's up to you. But what is the one thing I'm going to commit to tonight that if I did that in the next 365 days, my life would be radically transformed?
All right, so here we go. Now flip your card over. You got to see that question right there, your Oola 1. What are you going to commit your life to? And start thinking and taking action. Now this is where you put that pen to paper on your card, and what you write down, you make sure happens in the next 365 days. This is your goal that you're going to go to start the process of really finding a life of more balanced growth and purpose, what we call your Oola life. All right, push pause on this video, relax, think about that goal, make sure what you write down you commit to, and we're going to see you back here in a moment for section 6. Hey there, welcome back to section 6. And we're gonna actually start working on you taking action towards your Oola life. It's a big key step. When people say, how did you dig yourself out of the bottom to get to the point where you wrote the book and get to the point where Oola started going globally, it was really by taking action. Where you are in the framework right now is, you know, the 7 key areas of life. You know the blockers that are holding you back. You know the accelerator you want to dedicate your life to. In the last section, you wrote down, this thing has to go down, this goal has to go down. And to make that goal a reality, to make that goal happen, you have to do what we're going to be talking about in this section, which is taking daily action steps.
So that thing you wrote down, I want you to look at that right now and think about one thing you will do in the next 24 hours, one action step toward that. That's how your life is going to be transformed. It's not some miracle, amazing thing that happens on some late night infomercial that's going to radically transform your life. It's going to be you waking up every day, taking small action steps toward that thing you committed to. There's a gap. There's a gap between those that want and those that do, and it's filled by your action steps. I remember years back, I was, I don't know, low 30s, and I was 40 pounds heavier than I am today, and I had like B cups, jiggly B cups. And I was just kind of turning into that dad bod, and I came to this point where I'm like, man, this is me. And I up at the lake, in the summer we go to the lake, there's a mailbox about a quarter mile away, and I tried to like jog to the mailbox once, and I couldn't even do it. And I'm like, this is not cool. So it was that moment that I said, hey, I'm gonna slowly jog to the mailbox. The next day I went to the next mailbox. The next day I went to the tree past the next mailbox, and then around the corner, and 4 months later I was able to run a marathon. Now that first day I couldn't do much. So I don't know where you are. If you're a long ways from your goal, that's cool. All we're saying is in this moment, we want you to start believing in you again. We want you to say, hey, I made a commitment to this thing I wrote down, and now I'm gonna make a commitment to taking daily action toward that every day.
I'd do anything right now to go back in time, because I knew you when you had your dad bod, and have a camera on that hill when your hands were on your knees, and you had the shakiness in your body.
We all get to that moment. Sometimes it's financially, sometimes it's your health, sometimes it's your relationship. We all get to hands on the knees sucking for oxygen. Like, is this really life? Like, is this what it's meant to be? And it's meant to be so much more. We're settling for ordinary when extraordinary is within us, but you got to back it up with action. It can't just, it's not like a wishing well. Like, oh man, I hope this happens. No, you have to back it up with action.
Again, I know it happens to everybody, but what I'm saying is I wish I had a camera to go back to the dad bod days, because I remember those days very well. For both of us, by the way, for both of us, and go back. But that's where it all starts. Again, if I look back, at the beginning of this, I was telling you my story of losing everything. It was 3 action steps a day. 3 action steps a day, 3 action steps a day. And if you do that over in 1 year, you'll take more than 1,000 action steps towards living a better life, the life that you dream of and deserve, the Oola life. So what I want you to do is I want you to write down 3 action steps that you can do tomorrow. Maybe it's tied to your Oola one, definitely some tied to this one goal that you just wrote, but also a couple of action steps on like, what can I do tomorrow so the day doesn't keep happening to me, but I just take control of my day and start moving my life forward. This is gonna be the key to really unlocking the success you want in all 7 key areas of life, is by taking action toward it. So flip your card over, look at the section on your card and say, okay, what is something I can do in the next 24 hours that's gonna be directly related to the goal I just wrote down, but maybe a couple other things that are really gonna start to move my life in a better direction so that I can start having less stress in my life, less overwhelm, and start living a life of more balanced growth and purpose. All right, here we go. Push pause on this video, and we will see you back in the next section. Hello there and welcome to section 7, your final section. You made it through. Maybe it was fun, maybe it was challenging, but I know it's gonna make you grow for sure. And I wanna recap a little bit before we close this down, and I wanna look at what we went through. You looked at your last 365 days, the challenges, the wins, the highlights of your life, and then you looked at these things, you probably just heard about them for the first time, these 7 F's of Oola. And you discovered, man, I'm really passionate about this one, but these are causing me a lot of stress, and it got you started on the process of looking at your life in these 7 key areas, looking at that circus performer, balancing 7 plates like you're doing every day, and really starting to find a way to balance it all and keep it moving forward. And then we ran into these things called blockers, and you identified the one thing that's really holding you back, and starting the process of working through that. And then the accelerators, grabbing onto an accelerator and saying, this is what I'm gonna commit my year to, committing to a Oola 1, this is gonna happen in the next 365 days, and then the action steps. The action steps that you're gonna start taking today, tonight, tomorrow to move your life forward and make sure that you're on track with living your Oola life. The cool part is this has all been wrapped in an amazing community. So no matter where you are, if you struggled with this course, it was heavy, it was emotional, that's okay. Where you are is just where you are. It's not who you are. If this course was easy and fun for you, but in the back of your mind you know, man, there's some stuff I have to do, there's some work I have to do in my life, cool. Where you are is just where you are. It's not who you are. If you had this class and it was fun all the way through and your life is great and it's balanced, I understand that too, great. But where can you grow and push it to the next level? Or where can you reach back and help others? That's a big Oola principle, is if you're doing great in life, if you made it through some fires along the way, you made it through some challenges, this is your time to reach back and help others that are going through struggles and challenges in their life.
So as you reviewed what we did tonight, that's a lot.
I know.
Like we covered a lot of information just because we know and we're passionate about how transformational the Oola Lifestyle Framework is, but you just dipped your toe in the water. There's an entire self-paced, at the right pace, the right time, personalized for you path to a better way, to a life of less stress, more balance, and greater purpose. And that's called this Oola Lifestyle Framework. So whoever hosted the class can talk to you about that, but if you feel pulled that I'm settling for ordinary, there is something better inside of me, I would strongly encourage you to talk to that person and say, hey, how do I take the whole course? How do I dive deep into blockers and understand myself better? How do I get a better understanding for the 7 key areas? How do I really get to know me again and reconnect to my purpose, goals, and dreams that are unique to me? That can be done by the person who invited you to this class. There's also a huge community component to Oola. For you, it's unlike any other community I've ever been a part of. It's kind, it's positive, drama-free, it's encouraging of people, encouraging each other to live fully and achieve their dreams, even if they're different than our own. And that can be done. If you are taking this class in person, I know it can be done in person or virtual. If you're taking it in person, there are 2 stickers. One is for you to look at that goal every day and take action toward it, to remind you what you learned tonight that's important to you and take action toward it. There's also a second sticker. That sticker is part of this community. We have this crazy 1970 VW bus, covered 27 layers in handwritten dreams, and we would be honored to add your sticker personally to our bus. And the collective energy of this community, of all of us becoming better versions of us, is how we're going to change the world together as a community. Because if that one thing you committed to tonight happens in your life, not only will your life become better, you're going to put off a light that's going to inspire the people you love to do the same in your community, in the world. And that's how together we can change the world with a word.
You're worth it. Simply, you're worth it. We said that right at the beginning of this class, is that you are designed for greatness and a purpose. You have amazingness inside of you. Don't settle for ordinary when extraordinary is inside of you. So as you wind down this class, thank your host, thank the people around you. Really consider, like, how can I take this deeper in my life? And like Dr. Troy said, if we're going to change the world, we are on a mission to change the world with that bus across the country, around the world, collecting dreams and saying you're designed for so much more, bringing the world together as one community, saying let's support each other and love each other and be kind to each other. As we're winding that down, look at that sticker and understand what you write on that sticker. If this is a live class for you, that's going on the bus with thousands and thousands of other stickers from people around the world who said, I am designed for greatness and I'm going to commit to that. Thank you so much for joining us in this class. I hope you had a great time.
Can I say one more thing
Yeah,
as you wind
absolutely.
up? Just about the course, if you're considering it, like some people right now know that I want to take the whole course because I want to change my life. Some people are like, it's not a good fit for me. That's cool. But there's a lot of you that are like, I don't know. With a 30-day money-back guarantee and a crazy, like, ridiculously low price point, and you can unsubscribe at any time, there's really no downside. So I would encourage you, if you're questioning, jump in. Don't put your toe in. Jump in and see if by you getting to know you see positive change in your life.
I love to jump in because that's even helping other people, and that's
taking action.
That's what we're doing in this community, is really helping other people through the course as well. So when you jump in and you say, I'm going all in on this, make sure you're helping other people along the way, and it starts by helping yourself. So make this about you helping yourself and then helping others, and that's how we change the world with this word, Oola. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Can't wait to see your sticker on our bus as we take that bus around the world and take your stickers and dreams with us. Until next time, be grateful, have faith, and go get your Oola life.